Hey, what's up, everybody? Kyle Ford here with Hometown Realty. Wanted to give y'all a little bit of news about affordable housing and what that's going to look like very soon if changes are coming. Right now, the council special committee seeks resolution to the missing middle housing. So I don't know if they're referring to the middle class in that, but they do kind of specify what they mean by that. When you go over here, it says, in a move aimed at increasing Duval County's housing options for those who can't afford home ownership, City Council Committee took a preliminary step April 1st towards allowing construction of more multifamily developments on infill parcels. So they want to allow more construction of multifamily homes in areas that it's traditionally only single family, which we're pretty much seeing that when it comes to townhomes, condos. We're seeing these in areas we never at least imagined, and they're popping up right next to single family communities already. That being said, they want to look at building this, what they call it, missing middle housing. Let's get more into that. So Councilmember Jimmy Peluso, a member of the committee, said that the zoning changes were needed due to barriers to homeownership, such as high interest rates, which is true, it's pretty high right now, and rising costs of homes in the market of Northeast Florida. So if you live here, the prices are outrageous to us. If you're not from here, these are pretty great prices still. We need more options, and it's only going to harm the next generation of Jacksonville residents if we're not doing our job as a body to make sure that we're offering those options. So we need more units available. We need some more affordable rentals, affordable space to live. And the city staff reported that now 91% of the land zoned residential in those areas is restricted to single family usage. So limiting the amount of property that can be developed with so-called missing middle housing. So because everything is listed for single family residents in most of these zoning areas, it doesn't allow for duplexes or quadplexes. So the term missing middle housing is often used to describe properties like duplexes and fourplexes. These line the middle of the range of density between single family residents and large developments like high rises or apartment complexes. It looks funky when you're in a whole neighborhood and then apartment complex right on the edge. But it don't look too bad if you got a couple duplexes here, a couple quadplexes there, and they're spread out evenly throughout the neighborhood. Or hell, if your neighbor just builds a duplex, what's the harm? Is it really going to bring down values if it brings in some more units for areas? Maybe. So the study would focus on two areas that together essentially compromise the portions of the county that were developed before the consolidation of the city and county government in 1968. So basically what they say later on is that they're not going to do this in downtown or San Marco. Across these two areas, current zoning laws allow for an increase to 30 units an acre from 20 units on parcels through normal city processes. So they're trying to increase the amount of multi-units they can put in some of these areas. For properties zoned low-density residential, a study is required for council to raise the density to a target of 15 units per acre from the current 7 per acre. So in certain counties, they're not letting you cut down less than a quarter acre, half acre, or even more. In Jacksonville, you can get away with building on like a 0.12 of an acre, but it's got to be a single family home. So what we're basically suggesting is, hey, let's put on a single acre instead of like 8 to 10 homes, let's put 6 to 9 duplexes and a few quadplexes. This allows for there to be more rental inventory available. And even with the duplexes and townhomes types of features, these could be individually purchased. You can split those up in a lot of cases. So Councilmember Joe Carlucci, chair of the, and even if you're not splitting them up, let's talk about this. Buying a duplex, buying a quadplex. This can be one of the easiest ways to building a portfolio of property before you know it. You buy into a duplex and your rental or your mortgage cost is going to be about, let's say $2,400. The rent rates in the area are going for $1,200 to $1,600. You're going to take $1,400 and you're going to have almost half of your mortgage paid for by the other side. Yes, there is risk. Yes, there could be issues with that tenant, but that's why you use a good property manager, or at least get some recommendations from one, so you know that you're actually going to have a good tenant that's taking care of your property and that's going to actually pay your rent. So back to the story, Councilmember Joe Carlucci, chair of the special committee, said the goal of the study would be to identify the areas where increased density would be appropriate. So we recently, Alyssa and I and a few friends went down to Tampa And one of the things I notice about Tampa is it's kind of like Miami. It's basically stacking itself on top of each other. And to think that it's a bad thing, it could be said that, but when you really look at it, it definitely helps out for the older buildings in the area, building up some new homes, some new duplexes, some new quadplexes to put these, even if you're looking at the oldest side of town in Jacksonville, brand new duplexes and quadplexes are only going to help the neighborhood out. It's going to help it out from the blight. It's going to help it out from vacancies, and it's going to bring some affordability to the area. That being said, all of this has the potential to be kind of taken advantage of. So we do have to take into consideration that this could just be a move for investors to start building more units, which the property owner investor doesn't mind buying duplexes and quadplexes. In fact, they prefer that. So if there is a monopoly on these available units and there is a low amount of inventory still, this could suggest that we could be back into 2020 times, and now these duplexes are worth just as much as other rentals. Also, it could be taken advantage of with the housing authority in general. Some of the rent rates in areas that were once so low, they've definitely raised due to the current market rates. And you could suspect that they only build these duplexes in nicer areas where the rent rates are so high, they can't even assist those in affordable needs. So where we choose to allow this zoning changes to take place does matter, and it should be considered there. So this is why they're going to be doing a study to kind of get more information to see if this is something we should consider. Now going down here, I'm going to skip over a little bit. So the committee's direction, the staff will determine the cost of the study and how long it would take to conduct it in-house versus working with an outside consultant. They're going to try to save some money in all of this. That's good to know. The special committee's last scheduled meeting is April 22nd, ahead of May 1st deadline to report its finding and make recommendations. So over the course of the next 3 weeks, they're going to be looking into this, seeing if this is something we need to consider. If we make this decision, you could expect the city to go for a boom. We're going to see more housing available, more inventory coming available, and more room for people to come move. A lot of times, or a lot of people during the COVID times were stuck to renting whatever was available. And even if they wanted to buy, there was nothing in their market or in their area that they could buy at the time. So they were stuck renting, and rent rates skyrocketed. Now, a lot of these people have been able to find homes. Some of them are already moving back out, and inventory is kind of flattening out. We're getting a ton more inventory to the market. Rent rates are going down. So ahead of all of this, with the way our market is kind of heading towards, to see that they're looking to build more housing, this would be beneficial, as some of these homes you could assume go vacant, and the current inventory on the market would suggest that they're going to have to rent these brand new places for fairly cheap. And if they're going to sell them, it's going to be unique in the fact that there isn't too many duplexes available, so they're still going to hold a high value for that reason. But it's going to open up opportunities for individuals to come in and purchase maybe a quadplex, renting out 2 to 3 units, and then keeping one for themselves, putting themselves in a position 2 years down the road to possibly move out of that, have it completely rented so they can fund a brand new home. This is a good plan for many investors that they've taken. It's something that you should consider, and I can kind of help guide you on that, on not only determining the best type of duplex or quadplex to purchase, the guaranteed type of rent rates you're going to actually see. You don't want to be oversold by Zillow's guesstimates or whatever else is out there. You definitely need to be looking at what actually has sold in the area to determine the true values. So aside from that, it does say the committee's work comes amid a sharp rise in the home prices in Duval County and recent increases in mortgage interest rates. So mortgage interest rates increase, that means the mortgage rate's going to increase. It's going to be more expensive for the same house. And the home prices keep increasing even though the mortgage rates are increasing. Why? Because of the demand to get to Jacksonville in general. People are moving here because of how cheap it is overall compared to the nation. According to the Northeast Florida Association of Realtors, that's us, the median sales price of homes in the county was $349,000 in February. That's huge. I never even fathomed spending something like that personally. The last month for which statistics were available, that was 68% higher than the price 5 years ago. So in just 5 years, it was only $207,000 in February 2019, and it's boosted up. You could definitely play a role into our politics is what's bringing people here. And the low taxes, the no taxes, low taxes is what's bringing here. That definitely you could consider the weather. A lot of different areas. There even, you could say on the West Coast, there's areas that are running out of water, or in places like Texas or up north, Texas I use as an example, but these places are having freeze issues and all types of different scenarios, something we just don't have. Rent also is rising in the area. A recent study by rent.com showed that Jacksonville experienced the sixth largest increase in rent in the past year among 50 cities across the U.S. A recent study by rent.com showed the rent increased by 8.2% in Jacksonville in the past year. So it's steadily increasing, although I do suggest that since November of last year, maybe October of last year, rent rates have steadily been dropping. Inventory continues to rise for the rentals. Every home you can think of has been flipped. It's been put back on the market. There's barely any actual abandoned property available here in the city. In fact, the city has a list of abandoned property and seized properties. That list is completely zeroed. They have no properties available to auction off to the public. So percentage-wise, when it comes to how much our increase in the rent was, this was the sixth largest increase among 50 U.S. cities included in the study. So Jacksonville steadily increasing, far behind Orlando, far behind Miami, but you couldn't consider, with all of the future development to come and all of the talks from the mayor wanting to basically grow this city to even more of a metropolitan than what it was. We have the Emerald Trail coming. That's going to be circling around the downtown center. Brand new townhomes all in downtown. The north side, which used to be all the woods, is getting basically filled with brand new subdivisions. Brand new shopping communities out there as well. The west side is being filled up with brand new construction. And then the south side and all the way to St. Johns County is just going bananas with new construction. So the problem that we're seeing with all of these new communities is they're starting close to the average home price of $349. We're not seeing anything really lower than that for single family homes. And the issue with that is it's not truly affordable for everyone locally here. So if we're building some duplexes, some quadplexes, and those duplexes, let's say they can get them for $349. I think it's very doable. It's almost the same amount of material, just a completely different build. Double the appliances and double a couple different scenarios, but you can build with the same square footage to get a duplex or quadplex. So hopefully y'all found some of this a little useful without too much of a rant, but it's interesting to see that the city is pushing to bring in more development, essentially more units to sides of town that they've never seen that type of shared living, you could say.